Hello and welcome to the Purple Sector's F1 podcast, post Sao Paulo Grand Prix edition. My name is Kunal Shete, and joining me on the podcast, as always, is unbiased fan and voice of reason on the podcast, Shashank Shete, and fully biased fan and the undercut queen who will be crowned very soon, Pooja Reddy. Welcome to the show, guys. I get the feeling this is a end of season kind of vibey episode. But welcome. Welcome.
Hi guys.
And we are also almost going to be celebrating Diwali. So we've got some firecrackers lined up, which we are not allowed to burst, by the way.
That's what I was going to say. They're unfortunately banned, so we can't
But
do the.
I think we can get away with it. I mean, if most teams can get away with scrutinies with the FIA, I'm sure we can get away with, burning a few firecrackers here and there.
That's 100%.
So, guys, I mean, 100% that's going to happen. So, I thought we'll just, catch up and do a debrief on the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. I was actually going to call it the Brazilian Grand Prix, but from what I understand, it is officially the Sao Paulo Grand Prix and not the Brazilian Grand Prix. Now, I looked it up to see what's the reason behind it, but it seems a bit mysterious to me. So we'll just go with the F1 line of communication, which is the Sao Paulo Grand Prix.
Was it called the Brazil City Grand Prix or something? Or?
Not that
I don't know. Even I don't know. I was just calling it. I was calling it Sao Pulao for some reason because I think I was very hungry or maybe I needed some dinner. So
we won't go that far to call it Sao Pulao, but yeah, we'll go with the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. My God, you messed up my pronunciation.
Messed up the train of thought.
That train of thought.
Yes.
So let's quickly get into the race debrief. First thing I think that should quickly talk about is the race to beat the weather in qualifying. It was a very, very crazy Q3 in terms of just seeing the weather coming in, and then it got really dark, like apocalyptic dark.
Yeah.
And obviously the guys who got their laps in early were the ones who were able to qualify in the front, and the guys who waiting for that additional 30 seconds, 45 seconds, missed the bus, to say the least. It was an interesting qualifying, and that weather, the way it came in and all, I've never seen these kind of pictures. Either it's raining and there's no action on track, or it's like sunny weather. Because generally Formula 1 doesn't even race when it's raining heavily. You have a red
It is a very funny situation. This is the first time that I've seen a qualifying session or any session for that matter postponed because they were anticipating weather. And maybe
I literally expected like a twister to come out of nowhere. Remember that movie Twister? It would be like suddenly get dark and like one tornado or whatever will happen in the middle of the thing.
It was almost like a tornado. I saw a video also where I think the temporary shelter or the roof that was there on a stand, it just flew away. Yeah,
it flew away.
Literally.
Yeah, it was quite dangerous for the fans. I mean, some of the fans had quite a close call. Yeah. It was. It was like.
That it almost like, or rather, I don't know, people or the driver said like a night race almost, right? Like the weather just took a shift for the worse. It did though.
Yeah. Yeah, Fernando came on the radio saying it's night, man.
Night,
guys. Like, yeah, we know. It's a night race.
Agreed.
But yeah, it was. But at the end, come rain, sun, tornado, twister, this Max Verstappen doesn't get off the front row. It's impossible to get him. Like nothing can stop him, and it's just that sense of inevitability is so crazy during this season that you knew that anyone else would probably bin it or something will happen. This guy will somehow find the right time to be on track also to make sure that he's good. But yeah, it was interesting qualifying at least to begin with.
As well.
Second thing to quickly run by is Norris again had a fantastic weekend. Extremely good in the sprint, extremely good in the race. In fact, I really enjoyed the moment where he actually tried to do something on Max. I mean, he just had, I think Max was just keeping his pace to a certain level, and Norris said, maybe I'll catch him a little off guard and push for that one lap. He got side by side, and he at least threatened. He at least tried something. He made Max think, which was good to see, and it was refreshing. But yeah, Norris I think was again, I mean, he's having the best time, in terms of his best
At least
season.
At least he made Max take a defensive, which I haven't seen for very long.
Superb, yeah. The only time Max has taken a defensive line almost all season, except in Singapore when he was falling backwards, and that doesn't count.
Yeah.
In similar race conditions, where similar tires, that someone actually, made him think. That's a very good line. For the first time we saw him take a defensive line. Otherwise, he's never been, in a position where he had to even try to think about a defensive line. So that was great to watch. I think Norris still has a little bit to go in terms of consistency with his qualifying, although he, bagged a sprint pole. But I think that's where he has, possibly 5% of improvement to come. But other than that, I think he's kind of rounded off his race pace and the way he overtakes, the way he defends, everything. I think his race, the way he takes on a race, I think is now completely sorted.
Yeah.
So if a big if again, McLaren have a car closer to Max's Red Bull next season, where he's made to take few more defensive lines, maybe the first win will come, and more so perhaps a little bit of ajibaji, and then of course what will also happen is their blossoming friendship will falter, because once you're fighting in the front, then all that chuddy buddy kind of this thing all goes into the bin. But yeah, anything to add on Norris's pace?
Yeah, also I think it's in a way good for McLaren that Piastri has not really been performing to his level. So they can probably have a number one and number two at McLaren now, and maybe dedicate their resources a little more to Norris. Otherwise, it can't be a thing where again you have number one or two number ones. So now it's pretty clear that Norris is going to lead the team. So I think it's good.
But
for
I think that's
forward.
been the case.
Yeah, it
maybe
has
now
been
it's a
the
clear
case.
number one. But
Now
I
it's
think it
very
was
clear.
Yeah,
I think in the
yeah.
middle. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, I
Norris
think he came
also
back.
being he came back. He was probably a little unlucky also, Norris, in the middle, but now I think it's quite clear. So it's good, I think, that they have a clear number one going forward. I mean, good for
But
us
he's
also.
also
because,
been at McLaren for so much longer, so I think it was bound to be that he would be the clear number one. It's just that now that decision is for all to see. I mean, it's evident. It doesn't just have to do with who's been there longer. But
like we've all seen, where I think that we're as good or bad as our last race or race before. So that's why Piastri did well. Everybody just hyped it up so much that Piastri is almost at Norris's level. But yeah, it's good that it's clear. Like you said, Norris has been there in McLaren for I think 4 years. So that gap is definitely going to be there.
Yeah, the media hypes things also. Sorry, Pooja, what you saying?
Plus, now with his whole weekend and race pace and whatever his performance lately, he's number 5 in constructors drivers championship. Norris.
Yeah, 5, correct. He's gone past Carlos. He's almost with Fernando. Yeah. He's number 5, so he's consistently brilliant. Yeah, but I think
get past Fernando. That was one of my undercuts, but it's okay. We can move on from that.
No, but I think it's also down, just coming to Piastri and his sudden turn of form in the middle. I think I think within the McLaren team, they still knew that, Norris was actually far ahead. It was just a media narrative and something, for the DTS guys also to really, you know, add fuel to the fire types. So it was, I think, more of a narrative that was taken by the media for a couple of races. Not to say that Piastri wasn't good, but I think it was kind of hyped up a bit too much. But I think it's kind of status
That's
quo
how.
now in terms of Norris completely leading the reins of that team and showing it day in day out. Cool. Third thing that I want to quickly chat about was, and I've actually written this as Mercedes outworst Ferrari, which was
I
outworst in terms of both had a okay. One didn't even have a start. One had a DNS, and Merck had a DNF. But in terms of the pace, Mercedes' race pace was abysmal. Sainz's race pace and Ferrari's race pace. Maybe Sainz was a little lower than Leclerc, but we never got the chance to see what Leclerc could do in the race. But their pace also was not great. It was just better than Mercedes. And so on a weekend where all of them sucked, like all four drivers sucked and the team sucked, Ferrari still made gains on Mercedes in the P2 in the P2 race. So that's why I think Mercedes outworst Ferrari, which is not something that you would ever see. And Toto has obviously, in his emotional rage, gone and said that this is the worst weekend for Mercedes in 14 years or 13 years or whatever. And he was,
He said we
he was
the
beside
car
himself.
doesn't
Deserve a win, and he was really upset. And Lewis, for once, like Lewis again, I go back to a lot of again social media led conversations and DTS crowd going gaga over how these guys, these guys, and this, in the sense the drivers are on the team, they were talking about improvements and how positive they are and all that. It purely depends race to race. They are, after all, emotional drivers who all want to win. So Fernando, this race, after that, the fact that, which will come to how good Aston Martin suddenly became, he had a great race and he was again complimenting everyone in the factory team and all, which is the same thing, a line that all drivers use. And one week before, he'll just be like, this is, like Sashu was just mentioning the other day, thrown me to the lions, what is this? And he just said that, then from what I understand, not what I understand, these are just the rumors about, suddenly there was that rumor saying that he's going to take Perez's seat. And then he went and said that, I'm going to take action against those who've, put this out in the world. And apparently it was his team only who had put it out in the world. So he's also playing games. And this time Lewis, this is the first time I've heard Lewis being, this downtrodden in terms of his, his outlook was so sad, like, to hear saying that. This is just been.
I think this is the first
it's one
time.
of the first time I've seen their pace being that bad. It's okay, they might have had issues and all in the past, but their pace was worse than the Alpha Tauri, I think, in race pace.
Yeah, they had nothing going. They didn't have pace. Their tire tech was bad, and they had reliability issues, which I think, like you said, worsened Ferrari. If that's the word.
Outworst.
That's a new
outworst
word.
Ferrari. Yeah.
And this is the first time that I've seen Lewis and Toto talking like that. Otherwise, I've seen Lewis being a little downtrodden. But then after that, at least Toto is like, you know what, it's okay. It's just one race, so we probably look into it and see that we come back stronger, and he has his standard lines. Yeah. But this time, both of them are absolutely destructive.
Yeah. And Draco is becoming more and more irritating to hear on the radio. He is complaining all the time. He complains about other drivers around him. that this person's doing this, that person, if it's with track limits, and
Make them
he's
his own.
constantly complaining about Lewis. What is our plan here? Are we racing each other? I
Ask
mean,
him to
he
find
is
out.
correct. He is
Yeah,
just complaining all the time, it's getting
and his
very
also his
irritating.
tone. I think his tone. Everybody used to appreciate his a little sarky
Mm.
tone that he had. But now I think it's gotten a bit much now. The sarcasm. It's become really stale.
It's no
Yeah,
longer
it's something
sarcasm.
is
It's like direct, and his tone only is. Uh, how many
yeah,
times
Yeah,
did he
it's
race? Ask
distasteful. I think.
Lewis, what's the plan with Lewis? Tell him to hurry up. But basically, he wants to be
Ah,
let go. He wants to be ahead. Just he wants to be. He wants Lewis to be told to let this dude pass.
I think
Quite
in this
annoying.
race he basically wanted Lewis to tow him along for the entire 71 laps. How is that going to be possible? After he got out of DRS, that's when that message came. So what is the plan? Are we still doing this? Why is he going? Ask him to hurry up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
maybe there
come
was
on.
nothing wrong with his car. Total just told, let's just shut him up, just put him in the garage. Wasting
Really
everyone's time in talking
That's
rubbish.
one good decision that Toto took, I think, in Brazil.
But it's like it's I used to I never really liked Russell, but I thought at Williams he used to try real hard, and there were a couple of races where he just showed his
Yeah.
this thing about being a team player, and he did those like I
He
never,
was
like I
like an
said,
Albin.
a big, yeah, he was really good in terms of, he seemed like he was really going with the team, and he felt that he was a team person. Now he's just become unbearable. Just keeps complaining about everything.
Yeah.
Maybe
And his
like me
pose
only.
in
I also
the.
complain
I
about a
saw
lot
this
of
meme
things.
also that I don't know if F1 put up, but like even his pose in the drivers' parade put me off.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Correct. I
That
saw
hurt.
that.
Yeah, I mean, so extra casual. Like he's like one,
But model.
Durra.
some queen or something. He's sitting like that, and he's waiting for the adulations to come in, saying, "Look at me, look at me. I'm the king,
Yeah,
king, queen, whatever you want to call him."
Prince.
But yeah, I think we've learned a new word, outburst, and it's very difficult to outburst Ferrari. As in spite of being a Ferrari fan, this is a constant issue that we, as Ferrari
Yeah,
fans,
because
have to
Ferrari at least when
face.
they have the degradation, their performance or their speed is good.
Their one
So
lap pace is excellent, man. They just they still haven't figured out, or maybe they'll ask for
Multiple
Pirelli
things.
to come with better tires. Yeah, and just quickly, because we're talking about Ferrari, that D and S for Charles.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, multiple things have come out. One saying that it was an engine issue. Someone said that it's a sensor issue. Because the sensor had an issue, it told the systems to act in a certain way, and then he lost all hydraulics, everything. Some people say that the engine gave up because there's a puff of smoke, and then that caused the obviously such a complex machine. The engine went, and which meant that the car had to go into shutdown mode, and it just it was what it was. To start off the race, only you see this Boleto, it's going to be a shit show for you. And yes, he wasn't good at all.
And
But
after hearing Carlos's message, I thought, shit, like this guy is also. I don't even
yeah,
know.
he
yeah,
also
there
had
was
some
something that
issues.
was happening with his car also. Yes.
Yeah. But I like call me the only time I see a silver lining in a dark cloud is when I'm viewing Ferrari nowadays, which I will come to when we get into the undercut for the next race. Quickly, just let's couple of things we'll pick up. First lap mayhem. There was a lot of chaos caused by Albon. I don't know. Actually, no one is to blame. It was such a random incident.
Yeah.
Both the Haas drivers involved. Albon was out, but the guys who got really screwed up in all of this was Ricciardo because that random tire went and hit his rear wing, and then Piastri also again something
Got a knock from Magnus.
got a knock from behind. So once the red flag came, both of those guys could get work done on the car, but they were already a lap down. So that was the most pointless race
No.
anyone could
It
ever
was
have.
so funny.
I don't know
After
what was the
one lap,
point.
they were one lap down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It was just pointless. And then I think both of them, then of course Ricciardo being Ricciardo, he was just laughing with the situation later on, saying that, we had our own little this thing. It was the battle of the Aussies. They were just fighting each other, and at the end of the race, both of them were like almost right next to each other. So the Alpha Tauri pace, which was there with Yuki, I think kind of shown through over here also. So it's highly commendable that at the back end of the season, Alpha Tauri are at least trying. I think we had mentioned this before that Haas especially are they just piss me off now. They're no longer that likable team for me. They're like pushing above their weight, trying something, doing something. They just there, I think, for the TV money now. It's almost like they don't really care about what's happening. And Alfa Romeo is just pathetic. Like they've just become, I think they're just waiting to be bought over, and both of these teams don't seem to be wanting to do even better. They're perfectly fine with where they are, and they just keep going with the flow.
That huge conglomerate put in money in which team, by the way?
Alpine.
Correct.
That is Alpine.
Correct. Yes.
You want to put over?
I
Everyone
already
is
put,
putting.
buddy.
You didn't tell us.
There's no more availability in Alpine, it seems. Only Alpha Tauri or not
Alpha
Alpha
Tauri
Tauri,
and
Alfa
Haas.
Romeo and Haas. These two other. Which one?
Haas. He said he put in Alpine. He is
Put off in Alpine, Pooja.
Oh, you
secret
put off-
investor. His name didn't come
Yeah.
out. Yeah, his name didn't come out.
Everybody's in.
He's a
named in-
silent investor.
Yeah, it's not a very substantial percentage, so that's why my name didn't come up. But I'm going to be a psychological coach to Ocon also, right? with my small investment.
Psychological coach to Ocon. Yeah. It's a good segue to what I wanted to quickly run by with Alonso's whole weekend as such. The only blemish in that weekend was what happened with Mr. Ocon. That guy is a little crazy, huh? Ocon. He's like, I don't know, he keeps getting into these bad situations. He lost the car and he just went into Alonso. He was complaining about an idiot Alonso. So it's par for the course that no driver is going to take the blame, but this keeps happening to him all the time, and he seems to be really on the edge in the car. Like outside, he seemed like such a jovial, fun character, but in the car, he loses his mind. It's like one crazy different, that like was that Venom, like Venom and Spider-Man, I think. Crack guy. Yeah, he goes completely berserk in the car. He's out of control.
But it's not to say that drivers don't take the blame for it. There are some drivers who take the blame for it, or at least call it a racing incident. This is so
The mature ones.
mature.
Correct.
I
See?
guess. Yeah.
Pujan is
that's
right.
that's
Mature
exactly
one.
why I'm going to be his psychological coach.
Great.
To instill some maturity.
Next season, we'll check in and
Next year, you changed Ocon. He'll be the most
You guys should watch out for Ocon.
like
Be,
our unbiased fan. He'll be so just cute to him. I only look at what I can do. Very wholesome. It's no one's fault. It is only I take the blame whenever there's an issue. But new Ocon will see psychological coach. And he was in that incident with Alonso, and Alonso's only blemish over the weekend.
I don't
some
even
reason.
think that Alonso's blemish.
Blemish in the sense some incident happened.
Poor guy,
It's
he was
nothing.
just
It's
at the
an
wrong
incident
place
happened.
at the wrong
Otherwise, he had an incident-free, fabulous weekend where he was again back to his best, because obviously the car, somehow they got it into some kind of window where even it's in a good window where Lance Stroll also is doing well. Otherwise, it's impossible. Lance Stroll cannot drive a semi-decent car. He has to have the car really being on top of its game for him to do something. And the fact that he finished P5
talking.
it just told me that this is a strange weekend.
Yeah.
Very strange weekend. Because Alonso, you're used to him really doing well with anything. But this was a back to form kind of situation for Alonso and Aston Martin, and Stroll
Also.
somehow he managed something.
Yeah.
But Alonso, I think kudos again. Fabulous defense. Those last few laps,
Were the most
very few people could have kept a Red Bull behind. And after he lost the position, also to have that, that mindset and to be in that space, saying I can still do something about it, was brilliant. I think it was a great defensive drive, and also you can actually say it was a great offensive drive also to get that final position back at the end.
Even Max
And the person he was obviously
also good on Checo that he didn't do something.
I was just going to come to the last point of the debriefs. It basically reads, Checo didn't suck. That is the last point in the debrief. So he
no rhyme this
Does
He
that
did-
mean that you don't have a rhyme?
yeah.
Yeah,
He did
Pooja,
it.
that's what even struck me, that do we not get a rhyme this week?
Yeah, I mean, the rhyme only works currently in my head, at least when he doesn't do well. There's no point of the rhyme. I don't want to rhyme on people who I like.
I was looking
It's,
forward to a
it's
poem.
beside the point.
You can have a positive rhyme also for Checo the next time if he does well.
Kunnu's
Yeah, maybe
inspiration comes only when it's a poor performance, not when it's
I'm a dark and negative guy, so it
good
comes from these
don't inspire poetry.
inspire creativity.
Yeah.
No, next season we'll have a separate section, rhyme of the week, where I'll ask you guys also to write.
I can rhyme. I have a rhyme that comes to mind for this also. It's just a stupid
Alright,
rhyme.
then. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. We are all about the rhymes.
It just goes that Kunnu's rhyme got stuck because Checo didn't suck.
Wow, very good.
Very good. See,
Good
we
one.
can always have a rhyme of the week. Pooja, now it's the onus is
That
on
was
you
an
to come up
impromptu
with
rhyme, that too.
fabulous.
Anytime to
Such creative people on this show. That's the beauty of Purple Sector. Very creative people. While they know their shit inside out, very creative in general. But so Checo didn't suck. Checo was good. I honestly thought I had put money in my mind that when he was fighting Fernando, he was going to hit Fernando for sure, but that didn't happen. So credit where credit's due. I get a lot of hate from one of my friends who's a big Checo fan, who keeps saying that you have a vendetta against him, this, that. Which is true. I don't like the guy. I do have a personal... But yeah, we are all biased in one way or the other, except for this Shashu. The unbiased guy also is not a fan of Checo. He's a fan of
That's
all
exactly
drivers.
what I was going to say. That even being unbiased, if you're going to drive so badly, you're going to get some hate.
But yeah, Checo didn't suck, so well done, Checo. So we expect far worse things from you in the next two races. Otherwise, my rhyme though is in the bin. We'll have to then get impromptu rhymes from Shashu and Pooja.
Shit, I have to keep good and bad performance.
Right, so...
I enjoyed the last... I think the fight between Alonso and Perez, right? Didn't he
Yeah,
say?
he almost drove off, no?
Yeah.
He almost like had a moment or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
was
quickly,
pretty
let's you round out the special shout outs for the Grand Prix.
Max.
Pooja, you just mentioned it. Max won another sprint and race, by the way. Lance came in 5th again, by the way. How he did it I don't know. It was the biggest surprise. It was absolutely, because after that, like, he and Sainz were relatively close on the track, and then I think Sainz undercut him, and I thought maybe there's a chance. No, actually, this guy undercut him. Who went for a
They
pit
were
stop?
one behind the other at some point,
Yeah,
but the Ferrari just couldn't.
the Ferrari had no
They kept
pace.
dropping.
They kept dropping, so it was. So
I think
good was
Ferrari
Lance.
undercut him, and then I think he got past Sainz in the track, if I'm not mistaken.
But
Not-
there were
No,
two
not on the track. He
No.
was all. He never.
Okay. Then
He
There
was
were
all.
two-
Sainz always stayed behind only.
One
Okay.
on the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
In fact, I think after the second pit stop, Sainz cut, like by the time Lance. So yeah, Sainz did his pit stop first. Lance, after his pit stop, from 5 seconds it came to 2.5 seconds, and then he kept extending it. So it was, pointless endeavor. Also, a special shout out, I think, to Yuki. Yuki had a very, very strong showing. He did well in the sprint, in the race. In the race, I think if they had gotten this strategy a little, they had done the strategy a little better, he could have probably got Lewis the way he got him in the sprint. But yeah, kudos to Yuki and kudos to AlphaTauri. It's really heartening to see them at least give it a shot and try. So good job to AlphaTauri. Cool. Quickly, let's come to our 3-word race reviews. Who wants to start today? Is it do both of y'all have very deep and meaningful 3-word
Yeah,
race
as
reviews?
always. Like how you
So
have
start
poems,
off.
I have deep and layered word race
Start off,
reviews.
Pujams. Then you can start off with your 3-word race review.
So my 3-word race review is not so, but so many shockers. So SAO instead of so. So many shockers.
Ah,
Did you get it? Yeah. So many shockers.
yeah.
Obviously, Stroll's performance, Charles after the formation lap, him not even being able to start the race, Perez's shockingly good performance, the Merck's shocking performance, the weather, the shocker. So yeah, this is my 3-word race review. I can go on and on and on, but yeah, since we
Yeah,
discussed.
I think that's a theme of this race. Yeah, I think it was a shocking weekend in terms of shock and awe of people who did well and people who didn't do well. So it was a combination of the two. Correct.
Mine.
Works. I think it's a apt 3-word race review.
Also Sao Paulo, so that's why Sao.
So,
Not so pulao, but Sao many.
that's what I don't want to say it.
Moving on to Sashi, what is your 3-word race review?
My 3-word race review is promise not delivered. So this is because I think me and probably a lot of people were expecting this Brazilian Grand Prix to be like this oh so crazy Grand Prix, but somehow I think maybe it under delivered a little. So that's one reason for the promise not delivered. And second thing is, I think I expected Mercedes to do a lot better than what
Tell
they
me
did.
about it. My undercut is
I thought they do good because of what they did in the last 2 races. The way Lewis spoke at the end of the previous race, and also from what I saw happened in 2022, where they got a 1-2 at Brazil. So I thought maybe they have this track figured, but I was absolutely in Pooja's words, "Sow shocked." To see that. Sow shocked to see Mercedes being so pathetic. So on 2 counts, promises weren't delivered. So that's my 3-word race review.
Outstanding. We will release a book on 3-word race reviews for extreme depth.
Yeah.
You guys come up with is it's some brilliant stuff. The only thing Sashu about Lewis's words that we should never go with what he's saying. I mean, we've known his issues with which he faces with tires. My tires are gone. My tires are gone. And then he'll even his competitors will be like, hey, this fellow is like it's a trick now. Everyone knows already. You don't have to.
Yeah, I think now the tires trick we all know that when he says the tires are gone, that means the tires have just come into the window. And in the next 2 laps, you'll see a fast
Cool. Coming to my 3-word race review, it's a slightly what do you say, left of center, or you can call it it's going to raise eyebrows kind of 3-word race review. Copycats return. Copycat's return.
Yeah, I got it.
Copycat's
I
return
got it.
is the return of Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Uh, Again, it came out of nowhere, and they themselves aren't too certain what is happening. Now, given that I spew a lot of dislike towards people I don't know and teams that I don't like, Aston Martin being one of them, I'm going to put this out in the world saying someone went and did one. They went and spied on someone's set up how to set up this car because it's a copy paste of the Red Bull. He sent someone to the factory, or maybe that Lawrence Stroll only said he wants to invest in Red Bull and turned up. And then he looked at the data and he said, okay, fine. He took his guy along, saying he's his lawyer. He's actually chief designer.
Oh my god.
So much
It's the
thought.
most ridiculous
I know
three-word race review.
so
It's the
much
most
thought has
amateurish
gone
and
into it.
childish three-word race review, but I'm going to stick by it. I
This
mean,
is
I
depth
think
on
they've
another level.
yeah, that's copycat's return. That's the only way Aston Martin can perform. When they pick it up from somewhere else, they can't do shit by themselves. It's always something that has to come from somewhere. So that's my three-word race review.
Great.
Aston will be happy.
No, now I have a new team, new
Now,
set of fans who are going
that's
to
what I was going to say. That
insult
now you have a
me.
new
Yeah.
set of people who are going to,
Haters.
who are going to throw down their wrath. So it's Checo fans and Aston fans now.
It is what it is. Coming to our next segment, definitely our OG smooth operator is not the smooth operator, unfortunately, for this race. So, Poojams, who's your smooth operator for this race?
Mine are tied at two people. Should I just name one or both? Because I'm sure yours will also be.
Your call.
I think I know who, but go for it.
Lando and Alonso. Both are mine.
Straightforward.
Same.
Straightforward. I can't
You
find
also-
it.
Yeah, it's straightforward.
They had a good
Oh,
weekend. We
okay,
discussed
Grand
this
Prix.
last weekend that overall, whoever has a good weekend throughout is a smooth operator. Both had good weekends throughout. I would have said Stroll, but I didn't feel like it. I keep it to Alonso.
Didn't feel like.
I think he deserves it after only one race. So,
True.
Stroll. Yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah,
Fair
even
point.
for me, it was Alonso and Norris.
It's just too obvious. Like I don't want
It's
to say
obvious.
Max. This Max
Otherwise,
is out of
yeah,
the
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Otherwise, I would have said Max. And Max, poor guy, is so far ahead that he gets like 35 seconds of the coverage. That's the last 35 seconds of the race. I
Literally.
think. Otherwise, nobody knows what he's doing. Also,
He's somewhere up ahead. He's watching the screens, watching other people race, almost going
Yeah.
off, doing his own thing.
He's also making plans, I think, on radio with his girlfriend.
yeah, he's picking
and
what
then-
shoots he goes
going
to.
post the race win, where are we going to have dinner? Kelly
And
is
also,
like, yeah.
I think also prepping for his podcast, which invariably he's on anyway.
This post-race podcast, no, you're talking about.
Courtroom
Yeah.
podcast.
That, by the way, they asked him not about podcast, but generally, what do you think about that post-race? In the room they have cameras, and what do you think about the content that comes out there? He's very clear that he doesn't like any of it, and he feels that social media should never have existed. That would be
He's
his
like
ideal
an
world.
old man at heart.
He's an old school guy.
But he's so
Yeah.
I don't like this. I don't like that.
He's
just
like
So
me.
Sashu and me were looking at this really funny meme about as a youngster, if someone like youngster meaning teens, early 20s, someone tells you oh, you're you're an old man, almost like your soul is
Old
like
soul.
old soul types. So it's just a way of someone telling you that, oh, you're so young and you lost all your serotonin already. You basically become a negative old sod. Otherwise, you're very optimistic, no?
Very
You
nice way
youngster.
of saying that, basically.
Yeah, it's a
You're
nice
such
way
an
of
old
saying it.
soul.
Yeah. Okay, I went little left of center. I've been backing not backing. I've suddenly had an affection for Alpha Tauri, so I said smooth
Yuki?
operator was Yuki.
Even I knew you.
Yeah, it was. It was a great race from Yuki. I mean, and he still had those moments. I think on the radio 1-2 came where. No, actually, there were no moments on the radio. I think I'm just referring to the last. So he kind of was relatively calm, I would say. The fact that he got Lewis Hamilton in the sprint uh, was, I think, a big feather in his cap. And he didn't try to make because you would be excited to get past Mercedes and especially Lewis Hamilton track. He didn't make a stupid move. He waited. He knew he had the car in him, and he said he just aced it. One shot, he got it. So
Yeah.
Yuki was my smooth operator. Coming finally to the undercuts from last week, I can just start off this segment by saying I have 0 points because I backed a Lewis Hamilton win, which is absurd. Then I backed also Danny Rick in the points. Yeah, that again didn't happen, and I said Perez will crash, so that also didn't happen. So let me just start saying I have no points on the board for last weekend, and I leave the floor to y'all. Poojams, how many points you tell you got?
I think
Sashu will
I'm
probably get
22.
one.
I think I
Which
get
ones you got right?
McLaren on the podium,
Huh.
and both sprint and race will have one at least in common. Isn't that
Correct.
what?
Yeah, that also.
And I said
Yeah.
Alonso will DNF, but Nito went off on the podium. So that's why I
Cool,
get.
but still you got
You
2
got 2
points.
points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
we'll officially. I mean, you're already crowned, but we will do a
We just
unveiling
have
of
to
the
see
crown.
how
Get
bad
a
of an
crown for you and all of
annihilation
that.
this is.
How bad it is, we'll decide. Before Abu Dhabi only, we'll make the what do you say? Give you the crown.
Sounds good.
Sashu, how many points did you get?
I got 1, I think. I had 3 different constructors on the podium, which happened thanks to Alonso. So it was
Wow, that's a good one.
Max Norris and Alonso. Second one was at least 2 safety cars or virtual safety cars. Unfortunately, I think we had only one.
One. Yeah.
Safety car only one. Yeah,
Unless you can count the safety car and the red flag as 2 different events, but you can't. So I don't get a point for that.
We didn't even have to say anything. He was pleading his case and he said it's a weak case.
And I said Norris overtakes Alonso in the championship, which didn't happen. He came close, but he's still 3 points away from Alonso. I thought he'll overtake him because
That was a good bet,
Alonso's,
yeah. That was a
Alonso
good
won't
bet.
do very well. And also it was sprint weekend, so there are more points up for grabs. So that's why I thought Norris would overtake.
But this guy finished well in the sprint and on the podium in the race. If that didn't happen, even one or the other, I think didn't happen.
Even if the sprint
was unlucky. That was unlucky. That was well thought of. It's got a little unlucky because they copied the setup.
At least a point, 1 point.
So 0, 1,
cool.
2.
So
0, 1, 2.
Just I think Sashu and me are like neck and neck for being really pathetic. But I think he's gained a point on me. So let's go into the undercuts quickly for Las Vegas. Are you excited about Las Vegas? I mean, the track looks quite
I don't
horrific.
know what to expect. So my predictions are also going to
Yeah.
I don't know. Who
Have you come with some wacky predictions? Given it's Las Vegas, are you betting? Are you coming with something completely out of the blue?
I think the only guys who got some practice in terms of the show or whatever they did is Perez. And I think Hamilton, right? Who went to Vegas. Did they do some? So I'm just putting my bets on these two getting a podium. It's weird, but I really can't think of.
So Hamilton podium and Perez podium. These are your two undercuts.
Yeah. These are my two undercuts. And I will
Wow,
go
this
in
is
more. I
really
think at least one DNF. I don't know which, but I will. By the end of this, I'll try and figure out who will DNF and tell you in Vegas.
okay. Still, there is mystery around the third undercut.
Yeah.
Shu, what are your undercuts?
So, my undercuts, I have three. First undercut is so there'll be at least 5 retirements in the race. That's undercut number
5?
1. 5.
Wow. Okay.
In the race. Yeah, 5 in the race. Second undercut is Mercedes will lose a total of 4 positions at the start of the race, both together, because of their tire heating issues, and also because the race is going to be I think quite late in the night.
Night
So
race, no?
it's going to it's a night race, and it's going to be quite cold, like we saw yesterday. So it's going to be between 5 and 8 degrees. So that's why I feel like they're going to lose at least 4 positions together at the start of the race. And the third one is I don't know if it's a safe one or no, but I think Alonso will finish in the top 5, because it's not a very technical track. It's just straights and right angles. So I think Alonso will at least be in the top 5. So those are my
interesting. I
three
especially
undercuts.
like the second one. I think that is a very thinking man's undercut.
Yeah.
What Pujams? I mean,
I agree, really.
temperature conditions,
Exactly.
saying the tire heating issues.
Tire and oh my god. And the position. Wow. I'm very impressed. This is your undercut to win, Shashi. Come on.
Yeah, I forget a point after all of that thinking.
Yeah.
Pujam, you have your third, or you're just going to give it right at the end? It's
I'll
still
give it at the end. He said 5 retirements, so that's 5 DNF for me to choose from.
Yeah.
Pass.
Cool. I've also come up with 3 undercuts. I think that's the flavor of the season, coming up with 3 undercuts. First one is I'm betting all on red. Ferrari double podium, street track, cold temperatures, like Sashu said. Ferrari, the problem is that they overheat their tires. Might be their advantage over here, given that it's going to be so cold. They are all going to be given a multiple set of soft tires, so the chances are that they're just going to do a multi pit stop race where they possibly everyone's going to have a similar level of deck, because everyone have to do the same size of stints almost. So and I think Ferrari from Monza, and thankfully Ferrari's engine, though it's a little iffy whether it might go bust, but in terms of its peak performance, it's probably the best engine on the grid right now. So they're going to have straight line speed. This track is just straights and sharp 90s. There are no technical corners. There are no medium to high speed corners are almost non-existent, which is always a good thing for Ferrari, because they are very poor in those fast corners, especially those left and rights taken at high pace. So I'm betting big, and I think they kind of turned down the engines and took their reliability issues here, saying that we might as well maybe add a few components and refresh everything for Vegas. With Sainz, I think he was also on the cusp of something happening, because I think they could have changed a few things here and there, but they didn't, because I think they feel that they have a decent shot in Vegas. Second undercut is for which I will have to intently see everything that's happening over the weekend is Max. This is the track in the media, so that's also that is also an undercut prediction. And finally, my safe undercut prediction is Albon in the points, for obvious reasons. It's a high speed, lot of straights, slippery. Williams is slippery through the air and so I guess that's my kind of conservative undercut for the weekend. Cool. Pujams, let's drum roll and
Third,
let's
I think
figure out a third one.
I won't be specific, but the team starting with an M, one of them will be Vienna.
N.
That's
M.
So
M.
Mercedes,
Okay, McLaren,
McLaren,
Mercedes.
And
and
McLaren, Mercedes only, no? Can we do
Two only.
Yeah,
Martin?
only two are there.
Can we
Huh?
do
who?
Can we do like instead of Aston Martin, just Martin?
No, Martin. What the hell is Martin? I drive for a Martin.
No, but we'll keep it to Mercedes.
Keep it to Mercedes and McLaren.
Yeah.
Cool. So that about that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that. I think for this episode, I think yeah, let's like Pooja said, I'm not particularly looking forward to the racing action in Vegas as much as
Just the
possibly
spectacle, yeah, of what
the
Yeah.
spectacle, the
could be there
possibilities,
visually.
yeah, visually, it might be something
Yeah.
interesting. And given that they're having it late in the night, I think it's going to be telecast in India in
Morning.
Like
like
afternoon.
morning 11:30, 12ish. So it's yeah, it basically weekend is sorted. I'm going to see this, and I'll obviously have to view all the media
Conference.
proceedings because I have to get my second undercut right.
But I hope your first undercut comes through. Even I hope you get a point
Let's
for that. Let's go.
I think
see now.
yeah,
Pooja's come
they're solid
that she's
undercuts again.
she's really like poor guy. I hope for you that
That's true, I
you're
think.
not embarrassed.
An undercut. And yours, so I really hope it's true. It's okay if I get you also. And you get yours, but it's not true.
So wholesome, Poojam. So wholesome.
Spoken like
Chalo guys, so I think that wraps it up for this episode. Happy Diwali to everyone and everyone
Happy
watching,
Diwali, happy Diwali.
and we will catch up again after Las Vegas. Ciao, see you guys, see you everyone.
See you.
Bye. You guys.